I've got your energy stories for the fourth week of November 2022. Well, it appears the Inflation Reduction Act and its domestic content requirement are paying dividends. Italian utility Enel indicated it plans to build a bifacial photovoltaic cell and panel manufacturing plant in the U.S. starting at 3,000 megawatts, scalable to 6,000 megawatts, with factory construction starting in the first half of 2023 and the first panel sold by the end of 2024. Enel's leadership specifically cites, quote, tailwinds from the domestic content requirements of the IRA. Meanwhile, U.S.-based First Solar will build a billion-dollar factory in Alabama to make 3,300 megawatts of its thin-film solar modules annually, boosting total domestic investment to over $4 billion and annual output to 10,000 megawatts. Leadership there cited the IRA as well. Let's talk wind and transmission for a minute. Pattern Energy's 550-mile, 525 kV HVDC SunZia transmission line, which is meant to deliver 3,000 megawatts of wind energy from central New Mexico to south central Arizona, just received approval from Arizona regulators. This will support Pattern's huge 3,500 megawatt complex of New Mexico wind project. Taken together, the generation and transmission undertakings have a price tag of $8 billion. The transmission project has been 14 years in the making, with final federal approvals expected shortly and construction to start mid-2023. Turning to nukes, NewScale's first U.S. small modular nuclear plant at 462 megawatts, designated to serve Utah-associated municipal power systems, is running into a little bit of difficulty. Specifically, challenges from higher steel prices and inflation. Previous cost estimates for the project came in at $58 per megawatt hour, but are now running as high as between $90 and $100 per MWH. These cost increases limit NewScale's ability to hit engineering, procurement, and construction benchmarks, and it also allows those Utah off-takers to potentially renegotiate the price or even exit the deal. Moving to energy storage, the Biden administration is making $350 million in funding available for long-duration energy storage demonstration projects of over 10 hours. This will help facilitate further integration of renewables into our nation's grids, and it will support up to half the cost of 11 separate projects. Now let's talk vehicles and hydrogen. Volvo Trucks is selling heavy-duty electric 44-ton trucks, some of which are the first in the world to have parts, principally the frame rails, made from fossil-free steel. The steel comes from Swedish steelmaker SSAB and its hydrogen-based DRI technology. In more EV news, Volkswagen just announced it has delivered 500,000 vehicles from its ID family of EVs since the first sale in October of 2020. Well, that growing fleet of EVs will have to be charged, and not just light-duty vehicles, but big trucks as well. So Volvo Group North America and Pilot Company announced plans for a national high-performance public charging network open to all medium and heavy-duty battery electric trucks at Pilot and Flying J travel centers across the United States. On a similar note, the California Public Utilities Commission just announced support for a 5-year, $1 billion package to build out the state's EV charging infrastructure, with 70% of resources devoted to charging for medium and heavy-duty vehicles and 30% to go towards light-duty charging at or near multi-unit family dwellings. Sticking with charging, you know your local airport might have a dozen or two EV chargers in the parking lot? Well, Dutch company Royal Schiphol Group will install 10,000 EV charging stations at airports in the Netherlands by 2030 and has already awarded construction tenders. And finally, on the battery front, Panasonic said it will buy remanufactured battery cathode materials for its Kansas gigafactory from battery recycler Redwood Materials starting in 2025. The multi-year deal is valued at several $billion. Redwood eventually plans to scale production of its cathode and anode material to 100 gigawatt hours by 2025, enough for 1 million EVs, and to 500 gigawatt hours by 2030. Well, that's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.